Hi, this is Phil, and I'm here to tell you all about the Capes and Lunatics Patreon. Don't miss out on our comic book creator interviews, including our monthly Chichester chats with comic book legend D.G. Chichester, superhero movie brackets in our search for the worst comic book movie of all time, and many, many more specials, all completely uncensored. Access starts for $3 a month, full video when you pledge $5 a month. Check out the link in our show notes or go to patreon.com/CapesandLunatics. Hope to see you there.
This is Luca Perich, and you're listening to the Capes and Lunatics Sidekicks podcast.
Hello, kids. Welcome back to the 31st century. That's right, kids. Unlimited Justice is still going in the 31st century.
Two different 31st centuries.
Oh, that's right. That's right. We're going to get into that, kids. That's right. Because remember, kids, it's still Sub-tember. Because, yes, I am Phil, and joining me is special guest, Mr. Will Allred, to talk more Legion of Superheroes.
Hey there, everyone.
This will be like the 0 hour storylines.
The end of the classic Legion and the beginning of the reboot Legion.
That's right.
Not the 3-boot Legion, but the reboot Legion.
We'll kind of get into the beginning of that, because we'll do the 0 issues this week, and then next week we'll get into the rest of that storyline. So yeah, we got a lot of issues, so we shouldn't probably dally too long. But I thought I had something to tell you. Yeah, there wasn't any like Green Lantern or anything out this week. I'm not done with it. There's a Superman World special that was out today that wraps up that whole storyline.
Okay.
Yeah, so yeah, there wasn't like a ton of books out. I think this is the 5th Wednesday of the month.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah. Skip week.
Yeah, there wasn't a lot from DC. There was that. There was like a Harley Quinn annual, the Flash annual. So
cool.
Yeah.
No Green Lantern annual.
No. Well, you need it right. Well, I shouldn't say that. They've done an annual without a regular book before. I was going to say you need a monthly book to get an annual, but not always.
Not always, but it helps, and we don't have that right now for Green Lantern. So.
Well, what was that? 1994 was that? What was that guy in the Superman books? Didn't Shadow Dragon get a annual, but didn't ever have a one issue of any ongoing series?
Was that the?
It was like the ninja guy.
Yeah, but there was. Marvel did New Blood, and DC did the Parasite things.
Yeah.
Hitman and all those guys. I don't remember. We've already been over that.
Mm-hmm. Oh, but I did have a theory, because remember, I'm always harping on, pre-crisis, John Byrne screwed the Legion writers when he's just like, oh yes, Clark Kent was never Superboy. What? I'm like, couldn't you have simply rewrote that so it's like. Yeah, they were inspired by him, especially there was a few years, I guess, in post-crisis where before he became Superman, he was operating in secret. So it's and again, that's not public knowledge, but between now and 1,000 years from now, couldn't he have sat down and wrote his memoirs?
Perhaps.
And they got inspired by those early years,
One would hope, yeah. And then you throw DC 1 million in too, and then things get really weird. Because there was the Justice Legion A and B and C and D.
Well, yeah, there have been so many crises since then. I mean, we're going to be getting the 0 hour here, but
yeah.
But I'm like, yeah, that's the answer. Why didn't they do that? With the, I have 30 years of hindsight. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, yeah, we're going to be talking 0 hour, and I guess the Legion really didn't get too involved with the big mastermind. I wonder who was.
Well, 3 of them did, right?
Oh, that's true. Yeah, but we don't see them in these issues. Yeah. Somebody was swinging their big power battery all over the time stream. Yeah.
I don't know what that was.
I don't recognize that, man.
Of course, Hal Jordan.
Exactly.
All right. Should we get to these issues? Yeah, because again, we got the 6 end of an eras and then the 2.
Let's do it.
And
it starts with the conclusion, by the way.
Starts with the conclusion. Yes. that is in my notes. It said
the crossover end of an era.
Yes,
it should be part 1, and it says
it says here. Yes, incorrectly labeled as the conclusion. It's part 1. Boy, they really got that. Part 1.
they really got that time travel stuff down.
Oh, yeah. Although, you know, just the nature of the story, they should have just slapped conclusion on every part of this.
Exactly. Should we give a little background?
Yeah,
before we get started?
You know what? You're the Legion. You're the Legion man. Yeah, give us some background on this.
So my understanding, and could be certainly faulty at this point. So the Legion first appeared, in Adventure Comics back in the late 50s, like 58, 59, I think.
Yeah, I think something like that.
Adventure 252, maybe, I think. But for the most part, their continuity was fine until Crisis.
Yes.
Okay. At Crisis, Superman was never Superboy, blah, blah, blah. They created the pocket universe where Superboy used to live. But then things just started getting retconned, because then Supergirl was dead, but then she wasn't, and then suddenly she was Andromeda. Lots of things messed up the Legion. But you had some really great runs by Paul Levitz. We did the Great Darkness saga. Steve Lytle was an artist on when they restarted the book, and with higher quality paper. I think they called it the Baxter series. That was volume 3 maybe of Legion.
Mm-hmm.
And then and Legion was a powerhouse seller. It was up there with New Teen Titans, and the X-Men, and this was the early 80s. At some point, they decided to cancel the book. Keith Giffen relaunched it with Tom and Mary Bierbaum as writers, I think. And Giffen was also a writer. And that's the 5 years later. So 5 years later, the Legion is no longer this, hopeful place. The characters have been moved to this kind of darker, the Huns have taken over Earth. It's not a great place. And I think Giffen was experimenting with a more Kirby-esque style to his work. So it was kind of blocky, lots of blacks, and it was, from my understanding, I wasn't reading it at the time, but that's a really kind of controversial time. A lot of people loved the 5 year later story. A lot of people didn't.
Did not?
But that's where we get that number one, the 5 years later number one, is the series that we jump into, Legion of Superheroes, that we're going to talk about these issues. So what End of an Era does is take all of those things that were retconned and kind of throw them in a blender, and we get to see Mon-El again. We get to see Dev-Em. We get to see all these characters that were retconned to be something else, because Dev-Em used to be Kryptonian, then he wasn't, and then suddenly he is again. And then hey, I don't know, did Supergirl show up in any of these? No. But we were at the funeral of Andromeda, who was Supergirl, and Brainiac's like, yeah, I don't even think that's the person I was in love with, because he was in love with Kara Zor-El, who didn't exist anymore. But so that's we're getting, this is 1996 is when these were coming out.
Oh wait, well if these are on 0 hour, 94.
94, okay. So we're seeing 35 years of the history of the Legion that they're kind of throwing in, and you're getting to see all these characters that maybe you hadn't seen in a long time. So that's the scene, and this is truly an end of an era, because up until the last decade, this Legion wouldn't necessarily be seen again.
No.
Final Crisis is something that we're going to talk about eventually, but this rebooted Legion was the Legion from 94 until, through Legion Lost, which I think was 2006, 2007, somewhere in there. And then they get rebooted, and then Mark Waid, and Waid I think was involved with this reboot and these final issues as well, because he's a Legion fan from what I understand. There would be another reboot with Barry Kitson. I think they call that the 3-boot Legion. Mm-hmm. And then we would get Final Crisis Legion of Three Worlds, or I think, was that the title?
You would know better than me.
I don't remember. Then we get that, and all three of those Legions stop something, and then we get a completely different Legion, except then Jeff Johns comes back and brings the classic pre-reboot Legion into, like, I think the Lightning Saga in JLA, or then he also brings him into Superman, maybe. So the Legion timeline is kind of all over the place.
That's what I always say. I'm like, I'm not the biggest, most knowledgeable person of Legion, but it seems like every time a crisis hits, they get it the worst.
They get smacked.
Yeah. Oh, and also, like, in the Legionnaires book, that's part of this crossover, isn't it like, you're getting like younger versions of people? Because, I mean, there's older and younger versions of certain members running around.
I think before 0 Hour, Legionnaires was they were going to be younger clones that hadn't been corrupted by all the crap that had happened later on. And then they were used to a different purpose, in this end of an era story. They weren't actually clones. They were time clones. We'll get there, right?
All right. So, part 1 is from Legionnaires number 17, August 1994. End of an Era, Part 1, History Lesson. Writer Mark Waid, penciler Chris Gardner, inker Justine Mara Anderson, colors Tom McGraw, letter Pat Brousseau, and editors Casey Carlson and Mike McGavney.
And Tom McGraw would be involved with the reboot Legion, I think, as a writer.
Yeah.
Maybe.
We'll
see.
Yeah, there's not a big synopsis for this one. This one just says, the Legionnaires continue to disappear from existence. Some of their classic foes reappear.
Yep.
So,
we get people swapping. You get a different Invisible Kid, and or you get different versions of the Legionnaires that have been there in the past, and they're just showing that how much their continuity has been messed with over the years because of stuff that happens in the present day DC universe, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I think they're attending the funeral of Andromeda, aren't they? Who was I believe she was a Daxamite replacement for Kara Zor-El, Supergirl. Because if you remember from the Great Darkness saga, Superboy and Supergirl were both part of that, and now they're not.
And then isn't this? There's this one character. They're like, oh wait, last week she was powered by Emerald energy. All of a sudden she's a Dark Star.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and they keep. It's really cool, kind of, that they keep throwing different things in, because there was a Green Lantern Corps in the 30th century, I believe, that they just weren't allowed on Earth for some reason.
Well, yeah, I mean, when we were reading the last week, we did Great Darkness, pre-crisis,
but after Emerald Twilight, no, there weren't any Green Lanterns in the future. But there were, but then there weren't. Now there's a Dark Star. So yeah, there we go. That perfectly sums up what happens to the Legion of Superheroes.
I mean, it's way confusing, but I enjoyed these issues because, I could tell I like stuff when I read it, and I'm like, man, I want to read a lot. I want to go pick up as many back issues as I can and read stuff.
The Legion, I think you can see those. The archives
Ooh.
Are a good way to pick up a lot of those things. I think they even have a big omnibus out now of a lot of their early adventures. So.
How many years does that cover? Like, what years does that cover?
I think this gets up to, that's issue 12, I think. It may go up to 13. I think that gets up to might go all the way up to like the late 70s, maybe early 80s.
Oh, really? Okay. From the beginning up to like 70.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
I need to read all. I haven't read all of them.
Don't threaten me with a good time, man. Start at the beginning, read up, and then go as far as I can go in collections, and then be like, man, I got to get some floppies. Oh, but I love when they when Order Brainiac 5 reveals that Superboy statue, and some of them are like, oh yeah, Superboy, and other ones are like, wait, who?
Who? Exactly.
Yeah, because they're saying, some people remember, pre-crisis Superboy. Some, oh look, there's leather jacket Superboy.
Yeah.
But yeah, Order Brainiac, for here's the ultimate truth. Some unknown temporal force has been subtly shifting the Legion's reality for years.
DC editorial.
Crisis. I mean, it's kind of, you could really see this with the Legion. I mean, Lilith is always saying, it's like, she says, pretty much DC's been chasing their own tail since Crisis.
Yeah, they really have. I mean, as groundbreaking as Crisis was at the time, it was great art by George Perez. So well written. Marv Wolfman did a great job writing it. But they basically, at least from this outsider's perspective, they did Crisis to be more like Marvel when people didn't necessarily not like them or like them for that. They applied a fix that wasn't an actual fix to the problem that they were having.
Right? They thought the multiple universes were like too confusing. Yeah, they wanted to come down. It's just why
multiverse everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
steering the skin.
They spent decades trying to undo what they did.
And it's like if they wanted to freshen stuff up, bring a John Byrne in to do a Superman, but don't reboot. They could have just subtle small changes. You don't have to start from scratch.
You do after a Crisis on Infinite Earth.
Right? I know. But again, they could have just brought in new teams, and
Well, I mean, it was drastic. It got a lot of sales at the time, and long term, I think it probably did more harm than good. I mean, it killed Barry Allen ish. it got rid of the multiple Earths, which really made DC it made it unique because there was so much acknowledgement of the separate Earths, and they had a lot. Marvel was Marvel Earth, except for the Squadron Supreme or whatever. They didn't really visit alternate Earths that much. But for DC, it was just part of the normal. The multiverse exists, and we deal with it. Hey, here's the Huntress. That's Earth 2. Here's here's Earth S where Shazam is. I mean it.
And then you do a crisis, and you have to figure out how does the JSA how do we squeeze them in if there's only one universe? What happens to the Legion? Once there's no Superboy and
if you keep Earth 2 or Earth 3 or whatever the Earth is that the Justice Society's on, you can keep them. They don't have to be in the present. They can be. Hey, we're telling stories of the Justice Society. 20 years after, so they're middle-aged. They're not 100 years old at this point.
Exactly.
Because they, them being tied to that specific event, World War II, means they're tied to it, right? But Superman, Batman, and then Earth 1, they're 10 years ago was when they first debuted, or 12 years ago, or whatever that magic number is, where all their stuff happened.
But to their credit, they tried to do something like that in New 52 with there was a New Earth 2, so they weren't 100 years old. But they went too nuts with that.
Yeah.
So in this one, all the time stuff's going nuts, and then
well, and it's cool that they used it and said, "Hey, someone's been screwing with our continuity."
Oh yeah,
and they screwed some more with their continuity to show it happening, right?
And then was it young Brainiac 5's like, yeah, man, can't go into the future. He's like, I couldn't get past, what was it, the dawn of the 31st century.
Yeah. And that was something cool. They'd always set the Legion 1,000 years in front of whatever the date was.
Yes. Oh, but then they get a team up between two of their greatest villains.
Glorith and Mordru. Yep.
Yes.
And Mordru, if I remember from The Great Darkness, he kind of got spanked by, spoilers, Darkseid.
Uh-huh. But then they grab Brock and take off. And then I love how it's was it Dawnstar's like, oh, I can track him, and then she disappears.
Yeah. Oops, she's gone.
What?
And the Legion's had lots of really awesome characters over the years.
Mm-hmm.
I've always been kind of a Brainiac fan. I'm weird. It's okay. But Dawnstar, Wildfire. I've always liked Matter Eater Lad just because he's goofy. And you had multiple characters, with Kryptonian power sets too. You had Mon-El, you had Superboy, Supergirl, Dev-Em. I mean, you had to make sure that the threats that they faced were up to that level of power, so that this is Superboy. Nobody else needs to go. We're just going to send Superboy, right?
Mm.
We know he can't die because he becomes Superman. So there you go.
I know. Yeah, a whole lot of people are going to get messed up if he dies. I don't know. Do you think that's part of the retcon too, or it's just really, Superboy wasn't going to come to any harm because he has to go back and become Superman.
He has to go back and become Superman, exactly. But pre-crisis Superman's timeline was a little weird anyway, because at some point Ma and Pa can't die, I think.
Oh, pre-crisis? Yeah, don't they die right before you become Superman?
I think so. It's weird. I haven't read a lot of pre-crisis Superman. Of course, it's okay, buddy. It's okay. Sorry, the dog is.
Oh, I missed you.
He did miss me. He missed it. I was walking him the other day, and a lady asked me, she says, "Oh, is it an emotional support animal?" I went, "No, I'm his emotional support ape."
Should have been like, "Yes, my wife's, not the dog's."
Yeah. So anything else in this issue you're seeing?
I don't think. Again, it's good. It makes me want to read more Legion, but yeah, let's get to Valor 22 because it gets crazier, kids.
It gets really crazy.
Yes, Part 2, Valor number 22, August 1994, End of an Era Part 2, The Center Cannot Hold. And again, we had Mark Waid before. Now, writer Kurt Busiek.
Yep. And I think Colleen Doran.
Colleen Doran, yeah, penciler, yeah. Dave Cooper, inker, colors David Graff, letterer Bob Pinaha, and editors Casey Carlson and Mike McGavney. Yeah, so Wade, Busiek, I mean, you got some heavy hitters writing this thing.
Exactly.
All right, kids, are you prepared for the crazy? All right. The dead Earth of the Pocket Universe is pulled into the new Earth universe, but due to the difference in the physical laws, the planet becomes unstable and will explode in 72 hours.
But how do they bring it through? They hook up Mon-El, they hook up Dev-M, they hook up a few Kryptonians, and they drag the planet through.
Yes!
It's freaking awesome.
That's like some pre-crisis.
Pre-crisis power levels there, man.
Exactly. But I love it. It's like, oh yeah, that Pocket Universe Earth's been barren and dead for 1,000 years. Just been sitting there. Oh, let's use it.
Yeah, Earth's gone, so we need a new Earth. Hey, there's one. Let's go use it.
I mean, might as well. The Time Trapper was, used it to trick us for years. Let's.
Yeah, exactly.
The Time Trapper. Oh, we'll get there.
Oh, we're definitely gonna get there.
But then, yeah, but this whole thing with Valor and oh wow.
Yeah, because Valor was Mon-El. Yeah. In the present, which actually was a fun book. I think M.D. Bright was doing the art when it first debuted, which we know him from Green Lantern and Emerald Dawn and associated with those titles. And then it jumps to the future because we know he gets slapped in the Phantom Zone, or I don't know if they call it I don't even know if they were calling it the Phantom Zone at this point, but that's what it was in the past.
Yeah.
It spends 1,000 years in the Phantom Zone and then gets brought out of the Phantom Zone and cured of his lead poisoning because he's a Daxamite, right?
Oh, yeah. And he's going to end up there again soon.
Yep.
But him and What's-Her-Face, they, it's like, guess we're married. Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah. Let's see, Shadowlass.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And I thought it was really well done. I mean, we're going to see it progress through until, the conclusion of End of an Era. I can't be certain of this, but I think the Legionnaires disappear in the reverse order. Of they were joining. I haven't verified that, but I think that's what Wade and Busiek and them were doing, is that, the last Legionnaires to join were the first ones to disappear, and then they worked their way back until there's only the three founders left. Mm-hmm. The old version of the three founders and the young version of the three founders.
Well, something's been affecting the Legion for years, plus 0 hours going on. So some maniac is attacking time from the past and the future, eating his way towards the center. So
the crunchy center. Sorry.
But how about Valor and Shadowlass? It's just like by force of will, keep themselves from disappearing. It's just like, I mean, I know those Daxamites are strong, but I'm going to keep time from erasing me by force of will.
By force of will. Yeah, I kind of saw it as the revisions, for lack of a better term, happen kind of in waves.
Yes.
And if you could, kind of surf the wave for a second, you would be last until the next wave hit. So, yeah, it's nuts.
Wow. So, yeah, I mean, but that's basically the whole plot. Yeah, Shadowlass and Valor trying to hang on while, everyone brings this brings the pocket universe Earth through.
Mm-hmm. Which is great scene of them harnessed to a planet and pulling it, which is just awesome.
Exactly. So, yeah, let's replace the Earth. Okay.
Yeah, it's a Thursday. Why not?
Anything else on this one?
No, I thought it was. Yeah, I think these really work. These issues work really well as kind of single issues.
Yeah.
But then as part of that bigger story that they're telling, to be the end of that classic Legion, before they did the reboot.
Oh yeah, definitely. All right. Sorry, I just have to keep typing in to bring up the issues because there's no way to jump from like one series to another, even if they're part of a crossover. I mean, Marvel has that problem too. I mean, I wish they would give you like a separate link where it's like, oh yeah, if you want to read part 2 of the crossover, just click here.
Just here, go to the crossover. Yeah, you would think that we could do that with technology and all.
You would think. I mean, I don't know. I guess someone would have to put in that extra time and effort.
With there being so many crossovers.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you'd have to have someone working full-time just to do all the 90s stuff.
Yeah, there were a lot of crossovers in the 90s. A whole lot.
Although, as I heard from Fabian Nisa-Iza and D.G. Chichester, I mean, yeah, that's kind of how you had to promote your books. Either, a big event or a big crossover in the 90s. Mm-hmm. Otherwise it's just like, oh, hey, we have a monthly book. Oh, you'll want to listen to that interview. I mean, it's interesting on its own because, Fabian talks about his writing process. They talk about marketing and stuff in the 90s, but I did not bring it up, but the names Quasar and Mark Grunwald came up, so you will want to listen.
Okay.
Fabian brought him up. I did not bring him up, so.
Did that go live yet, or?
No, it's just on the Patreon right now. Yeah, no, next week it'll go live.
Next week? Okay, yeah. Cool. Very cool. Yeah, we're a bit of fans of Mark Grunwald, aren't we?
A little bit, yeah. Oh, you know what? The DC Universe Infinite, Lilith and I were talking about this the one day. Like, the interface, sucks. You know why? Because you can't misspell at all. It won't.
And it doesn't suggest?
No. And it was just giving me trouble because I didn't put super dash heroes.
The hyphen in here? Yeah.
No, and that messed it up. Yeah, you have to have that hyphen in there, too. I'm like, really?
Come on, man.
All right, so should we jump to Legion of Superheroes?
Part 3.
Yes.
Legion of Superheroes number 60?
Yes, Volume 4, number 60. August 1994. End of an Era, Part 3. Infinite Possibilities. Writers Tom McGraw and Mark Waid. Penciler Stuart Amonin. Inker Ron Boyd. Colors Tom McGraw. Letterer Bob Pinaha. And yes, editor Casey Carlson and Mike McGavney. Okay, here's your synopsis. Glorith and Mordru steal the Infinite Man's power.
Oh, that's it?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Like, really?
If I remember correctly, the Legion tries to, contain and attack them while also reality completely changing around them and there being evil Legionnaires and all this stuff, right?
Yeah. And again, you got that whole thing with, they kidnapped Rock and he's trying to escape and he can't, it's like this, basically this infinite castle or whatever, and then...
Yeah, he's in the infinite library, right?
Well, yeah. Well, they try to unlock it, and he kind of forces his way in and slams the door behind him, so... Then they just show him reading... Well, it's just this issue of the next one, but yeah, just show him reading books.
Yeah, there's a 3-panel sequence where he's older, really old,
mm-hmm.
does a spell, and suddenly he's young again. I'm like, okay, cool.
But yeah, I mean, there's a big fight between Glorith and Mordru and the Legion. Then they're de-aging people. They're making people old. They age Leviathan to death.
Yeah.
It's just a giant, huge skeleton all of a sudden. But yes, they do defeat the Infinite Man and steal his powers. Split it between the two of them. So yeah, I mean, again, 6 issues, but man, there's a lot going on here.
There is a whole lot. Yeah, at the end of this one, don't they Glorith loses her part of the power, and then they end up entombing
Well, part 3 ends when they both get the power and they're both standing there with the
okay, gotcha.
power, like, towering over the Legion, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I guess, like, you do have to do a lot in a Legion book, right? Because it's, like, basically, modern DC, you have how many books to spread out, stories about different characters.
Uh-huh.
Legion, you're basically doing the whole DC universe of the 30th or 31st century.
Mm-hmm. And you have...
That's your Justice League, that's your group,
And I think we talked about... Did we talk about the Levitz paradigm last time?
You might have mentioned it.
It's the way he plotted the book, so he would have the A story, B story, C story, and how he would move them through, because then once the A story finished, the B story would become the A story, the C would become the B, and then he would cycle through because there are so many characters in a team book, and he was dealing, look at the sheer volume of characters that we've seen just in the last 3 issues, right?
Because when you think about it, imagine if you only had like Justice League books to tell the story of every story of Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Green Lantern, Flash, all those others.
You'd have to move your focus so that everybody gets attention eventually and keep cycling through. And Levitz, I still see people referring to that. The Levitz paradigm is, if you're going to do a team book, this is the way you can plot a team book, and it's a structure that works.
Yeah. Yeah. Kind of again, it's more than a team. It's like, the whole universe, in that time.
Yeah. And I think, if you go back and look some of they may not have called it the Levitz paradigm or something, but if you look back at Avengers during the 80s, you would see subplots becoming plots and moving through, a thing. So I think it's something that he kind of formalized and definitely practiced. And if you just do a search for Levitz paradigm, you'll find it and see how he kind of used a notebook to kind of draw out how he was going to do the plans and what the issue numbers were and all that stuff. It's pretty cool.
I feel like we're not hitting everything, but there's a lot of stuff going on in these books. And again, keep your eye on Raw, kids. Stuff's coming.
Yeah, stuff is coming. So at the end of this one, they get the power, right?
Yes. Yeah, they defeat the Infinite Man and steal all that power. No. All right, should we jump to the next one?
You bet. We're back to Legionnaires, right?
Yep, Legionnaires 18.
Nice.
September 1994. End of an Era, Part 4. Changing Times. Mark Waid and Tom McGraw again. Penciler Chris Gardner. I think this is the team from the previous Legionnaires book. Let's see, do I have a synopsis for this one? I don't know if there's even a synopsis for this one. Jeez. The universe is dying, people.
And you can't be bothered to give us a synopsis?
Hold on, let me pull up Legionnaires 18 on the DC Infinite out. Make sure I spell it with 2 N's, or it won't or I won't be able to find it.
Be careful. Spelling matters.
Oh, much so. But that's a cool cover with various Legion members battling like their evil devils.
Yep.
Because Mordru and Glorith actually start rewriting the universe, and in this new universe, there's like their version of Legion, where obeys them.
I'm sure that's not really good for the underlying reality when one time is currently changing everything in waves, and they just come in and we're just going to rewrite everything. That's not good.
Well, I forget what I think it might be at the end. It might be part 6. There's one issue, where they're just like, oh yeah, maybe we can fix that Earth thing, but at this point, it might not even matter because the universe might be coming to an end. So,
which is going to happen first? Is Earth going to explode or the universe going to end? I don't know, man. Does it matter?
Exactly. So everyone's basically trying to stop Glorith and Mordru, and then they're rewriting the universe.
And then was it Levi, or did they call him Colossal Boy because he was Colossal Boy?
Yeah, when they killed him last issue, they said, "Oh, Leviathan," but
gotcha.
Again, things are changing from moment to moment, so I don't know.
Yeah, and they had a lot of people like to mock the names, Cosmic Boy, Lightning Lad, all those things. But it really was about, hope and, this and innocence, changing the world and all that stuff from their earliest appearance, and then it wasn't about that. So.
But then meanwhile, Rock's still locked in that library thinking, there's so many books here. He's like, but you think
maybe I should read some of them.
These volumes, it's like the sum total of all knowledge of time's power. I'll read all this.
Maybe I can help.
Even if it takes me to the end of time.
Yeah, there we go.
So while everyone else is fighting, Mordru and Glorith, and Rock's reading his books, we see those are like 3 of the originals, right? Saturn Girl, like and Cosmic Boy, yeah. And their time, they're trying to time travel in a time bubble, get knocked off course. And where do they land, Will?
0 hour.
1994.
Don't they get a message from Superman?
Well, yeah, because you remember at the beginning, yeah, like Superman kind of, they don't even, all that he mentions is Metron here, but do you remember, was that 55 where, he runs in the Cow first, and, Cow helps, basically create the hologram, and Metron just, like, beams it to everybody.
That's right.
But, yeah, but they get caught by, what's his face, Jonah?
Yeah. Yeah, and got his, Ultra Boy, who got his powers from being swallowed by a space whale, and his name's Joe. Nah.
Wow.
It was the 50s, man. Maybe it was the 60s.
Get a kid, this Bible joke. But yeah, they get the image of Superman in all his mulleted glory.
The best way to describe that, mulleted glory.
But yes, and then as the battle's raging on in the future, like you said, like some of those pages you see Rock, just the panel Rock at the bottom, just like getting older and older and older as he's reading all these books. But then he looks young again. What? So yeah, the Legion battling that evil version of the Legion. And then, who is this? This isn't Amethyst, is it? Or is this someone just using her stuff? Oh, I call upon the spirit and power of Amethyst. Or is this just another time hiccup or something? Lydia?
I think it's, she's the White Witch. I think she's, from Sorcerer's World. I think she's calling up, and Amethyst is a different dimension, I think.
Yeah. Oh, but then, yeah. At the end, Rock opens a door, and yes, who does he meet? The Time Trapper. Which, if you don't know the story, kids, this is going to be more ominous than you know.
Yep.
So, thoughts on this one, William?
Well, I mean, I feel like the creators went above and beyond to try to give every character, a moment.
Yeah.
And treat each character with, respect. Because, spoilers, the end is coming. And because this was the last hurrah for these characters and their continuity. Or at least that's what it was planned to be. I think they did a good job.
Yeah. I was going to say, I was thinking about this when I was reading this. Should we save the 0 issues for next week?
We can if you want.
Because that kind of starts off that new continuity, because that's kind of what we're going to be next week. Yeah, let's just do the end of an era, because...
Okay.
Yeah. We'll start off fresh.
And it is a complete fresh start with the 0 issues.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm still surprised to this day that after the 0 issues, they didn't launch new number ones. They continued the numbering of the series that, to an issue previous was a whole different continuity. Right?
Modern comics would never.
That's right.
Hell, they switched creative teams. They threw up a new
number one. Yeah.
I don't know, man. They didn't figure out that shtick before then. All right. So do you want to jump to Valor?
Let's do it.
All right. So yes, part 5, Valor number 23, September 1994. Infinite Valor. All right. I think it's the same team as the last one. Yeah, Kurt Busiek, Colleen Doran. Yeah, same team. I have a little bit more of a synopsis here. All right. Valor deals with an ever-changing past and present while fighting Mordru and Glorith. At the end of time, the Time Trapper explains the reasons behind his actions to Cosmic Boy. He reveals that the SW6 Legionnaires are really younger versions of the Legion of Superheroes, but their existence had weakened the time stream to the point that any alteration of it, even by the Trapper himself, caused it to buckle, distort, and rebuild itself in a new pattern affecting everything, including the Trapper.
He doesn't even remember what his reality came from.
So no more manipulating time for you, sir. You are now a Trapper Keeper.
Oh. Nice.
Thank you. So, yes.
And there are time keepers. That's in the Marvel universe.
Yes, yes.
They're also called watches, right?
But yeah, this whole thing is interesting. Yeah, just, the Trapper trying to explain stuff to Rock, and then...
Yeah, there's a lot of, there's several pages devoted to him kind of explaining everything, with not much in the way of Valor, or Mon-El or anybody.
Oh, and then really gets freaky when Superboy shows up.
Who?
I'm trying. I guess it might be the Pocket because, did you read the Superboy issue of 0 Hour?
Oh, I did a long time ago.
He kind of gets knocked. I don't know if it's supposed to be a different timeline, but it kind of is like that Pocket Universe Superboy. Yeah, he lands in that Smallville and meets that Superboy. Yeah,
cool. I sort of remember that. I think because this is the leather jacket Buckles.
Yes.
Superboy.
Yeah. Because he gets to meet. Yeah, I'm assuming it's Pocket Universe or it's just pre-Crisis Superboy. But yeah, because this is who we have. Either Pocket Universe or pre-Crisis. I guess they're the same person, but kind of, sort of.
Yeah, it's all very confusing.
But yeah, so the whole thing with the with that other version of Legion, isn't the whole Trapper's thing is he was trying. What was it? He was trying to. He divided the Legion, basically making the younger and older versions. Yeah, the Legionnaires who
preserve them somehow.
Yeah, like you were saying, originally they were clones, but now they're just they're time duplicates, or they're younger time duplicates or whatever. Concentrating my vast power into a chronal scalpel to split them into 2 possible time tracks. I chose to make the divergence occur just before Pharaoh Lad's death, back when the team's camaraderie was highest. There were exceptions. I had to take Lornu from a slightly earlier time, merge Guard with an undamaged temporal version.
Yeah, that Lightning Lad.
Wow. Yeah, they are not copies of any sort. You and they are merely divergent channels of the same time stream, each as real and valid as the other.
Okay, that's making my head hurt.
I know. But then he's like, yes, that was my fatal flaw. I archived these extra legionaries in time stasis deep within the hidden recesses of Earth's Time Institute. And Rock's like, yeah, where they were conveniently found by the Dominators years later. So yeah, the Trapper's not convenient. I traveled back through the centuries and created the Pocket Universe as a safe haven in which my Legion would ride out the cataclysm safely. But before it was completed and made secure, an unforeseen series of events helped bring about the destruction of that universe and dash my plans on the rocks of fate. I despaired for a time. I fear I went slightly mad.
Yeah, if you look at some of the Time Trapper's earlier appearances, I think he went more than slightly mad.
Well, yeah, if you're just creating universes and timelines.
And things keep happening, darn it.
It has to, because look at the Psycho Pirate, man. He seems to be the only one who remembers every variation since pre-Crisis, and it's just...
It's like Groundhog Day. I can't change that.
But yeah, the Time Trapper's basically, I tried to, steer things away from danger every time, and every attempt led to failure. But yeah, Rock's like, those things didn't happen that way. No, they didn't. Not now, not here. It was the 2 legions. Even with one in stasis, the paradox weakened the fabric of time, weakened it drastically. Every time I tried to alter things, even the smallest of events, the weakened time stream buckled, distorted, and rebuilt itself in a new pattern. It was always different and never an improvement.
All this work and it never got any better.
Okay, here it is. Even I was affected. My actions, my memories, and the timeline I had started out in was gone, destroyed forever. I couldn't remember what was, So I pressed onward in the hope I could create it anew.
Oh yeah.
So was there time travel in pre-crisis?
Yeah. I'm
Okay,
pretty sure there was. So
okay.
it was. So they're using him to tie a lot of stuff up.
Yeah.
Which I think is pretty cool. Turning him into a villain-ish. Turning Cosmic Boy into a villain-ish. I don't know. It was ultimately, I think, probably, but if you're a fan of the character, well, he would never do that. Well, this is not the original, or, because here's our original who's never done that yet. So this is an alternate future. I don't know.
Boy, talk about meta commentary.
Yeah.
No, the more I tried, the worse it became. The temporal alterations only became more pronounced, and I became twisted by constant revision into something even I cannot recognize.
There you go, right there.
I see you, Mark Wade. I see you. Or no, is this Valor? Is this Busia?
Yeah.
I forget what.
Yeah. We see you. We hear you.
Oh, Lord. In this reality that exists now, I found myself at the very end of time, attacked and battered, and flung helplessly back through the increasingly chaotic time stream, talking about 0 hour number 4.
Uh-huh.
I wonder who could have attacked him in 0 hour number 4.
Perhaps, maybe, I know, a yellow fear monster.
I was driving in his souped up.
I, of course, love Hal Jordan.
Exactly. That would be Parallax, right?
Yes. Oh, but then they find a way to takes that that infinite manpower that Glorith had and give it to Valor, so he's duking it out with Mordru. And then they're just like, oh hey, the Brainiacs are like, hey, give Mordru all the power. It's like, wait, what?
Yeah, that seems counterproductive.
But then I think he figures it out because they give Mordru all the power, and it's just like, oh, so I guess he's claustrophobic, and it's just like, now imagine if you could see the basically cosmic awareness. You could see the entire universe, and it's not enough room. So he basically blows up or something, or implodes.
I think they put him in a planetary core or something.
Oh yeah, isn't he supposed to stabilize the Earth, the new Earth's core or whatever? Yeah,
maybe.
Oh wait. Oh yeah, because they were supposed to teleport him into the core of a planet, and so yeah, they couldn't teleport him. It was a rush job, so they couldn't teleport him to any planetary core. But he fastened on the one that burned the brightest in his consciousness, Pocket Earth. I thought they're like, oh no, that Earth's going to explode, and then he'll be back again.
This just keeps getting better and better.
Yeah. But then Shadow Lass gets injured, and then she disappears. And she's basically dying, and then Valor
she blinks out of existence.
Yeah, Valor just tells the Legion, you know what? I'm going to let go. I'm going to go find her, and then he disappears. See, this is his last issue, kids.
And it's the final issue of the series too.
Oh God! How about Superboy is talking to everybody?
Yeah, he inspires them, and then he disappears, and they're like, I don't know who that was, but he was very inspiring.
Yeah. But this is pre-crisis, because he's like, look, sure, things may look bad, but they look bad before, right? Remember the super Stalag of space? Remember the Great Darkness?
There you go, yeah.
The Sun Eater? We didn't give up then, did we? He's coming to now let's get to, and he disappears. So then they take off for the final chapter.
The actual conclusion. I think it says that on the cover, doesn't it?
Yeah, but so did the other one, Will.
Yeah. Or does it say the... Oh, it's on the first page. The actual conclusion, I think, is what it says.
I can see Mark Waid doing that.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean, Valor disappears, but I believe he shows up later. That is Valor, right? As he has amnesia, and he shows up in the 20th century, and Superboy's, he ends up fighting Superboy. It's around issue 19 or something, I think.
Yeah, I think so. It's been a long time since I've read those.
Yeah, and I think he does get poisoned again, and they have to throw him in I think it's supposed to be the Phantom Zone. Yeah,
it's some other kind of zone.
Because there's some kind of scientist there. They were studying some gate thing, and yeah, once they shove him through, the gate breaks, and it's. And
then he actually comes through into the rebooted Legion's timeline. So we get
does
to
he?
see him. Yeah,
Nice.
It's it's several issues in, I believe, but he does show up.
Does he remember the old timeline or no?
No, it's just
Okay.
he's the current Valor. He
Okay.
never was, this is him being in the Phantom Zone for 1,000 years.
Yeah.
For this timeline as opposed to
Okay.
the one that disappeared. Yeah.
So he doesn't remember like what we're covering tonight. Okay.
Yeah. Still, it never happened.
Oh, true. Yes, it does say that. Yeah, on this last cover, the end of an era, the real conclusion. Just that white space, and you see the Trapper on the front, and it just says the last Legionary.
Yeah.
All right, so are we jumping into this?
Let's finish this thing off.
All right.
The end of the Legion.
The real end of Legion of Superheroes, Volume 4, number 61. Hold on. Damn pop-ups on free websites. How dare you? September 1994. Yes, the end of an era finale, Borrowed Time, by Mark Waid and Tom McGraw. Yeah, same team as the last Legion of Superheroes issue. Come on, gotta have a good synopsis for. Come on, baby, give me some synopsis. No synopsis for this one either. You would think for the conclusion they would have written this up. Here we go.
You want to see if I can. Oh, you got one?
Well, it just lists some of the highlights here. The Time Trapper is revealed to be an aged Rock Quinn in this issue, and this is the final canonical appearance of the original incarnation of the Legion of Superheroes. However, a version of them will reappear in mainstream continuity 13 years later during the events of the Lightning Saga, a part of the countdown to Final Crisis.
There we go.
So what do they mean by the original? I mean, are they talking in pre-crisis or?
These are their continuity Swiss cheese as it was. These are the same characters that appeared in Adventure 252 or whatever, and this was the accumulation of 35, 40 years of story.
Yeah, because I was going to say in the Zero issue, I mean, we get like Saturn Girl and Cosmic Boy and them. I'm like, those are the original members, right?
Yep, they're the three that started it all, and we get an expanded version of how and why the Legion is formed, and the new timeline, right?
Yes,
and we get some characters with different names, but that should be familiar. We get some remixes of some of those classic Legion stories as well.
Mm-hmm.
But this was. I was buying Legion as it came out during the reboot, and it was a lot of fun. They had some good artists on there: Jeff Moy, Phil Moy, Stuart Eminem. It was a lot of fun, and you didn't need to know that 40 years of backstory, or 35 years of backstory, because they started it fresh here.
Yeah, because I didn't read the rest of them yet, but I did read those Zero issues. Yeah, and it's they literally start from the beginning.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I mean that was probably the biggest reboot that come out of 0 Hour is the Legion. Yeah. Because everyone else that like in the present, like all the Zero issues, they basically like if they had to retell the origins, they did, but then things proceeded on from where they had left off at before 0 Hour.
In Green Lantern, he kind of blew up up, whatever.
That damn yellow fear monster.
Yellow fear monster.
But yeah, this one, everyone left in the Legion basically comes to the Pocket Earth, which is basically tearing itself apart.
Mm-hmm.
Volcanic eruptions everywhere. That's when the Time Trapper shows up. And Rock.
And Rock. Rock and rock. Not rock and roll, rock and rock.
30th century's favorite DJs, rock and rock with you. But yeah, he shows up and says, "Wait, as hard as it is to believe, the trappers are our only hope." And then what is this? Lydia is that his wife? Goes to hug.
Yeah, Night.
She hugs him and disappears.
Yeah, what is her name? Night Girl. I think so. Yeah.
But yeah, he hugs her and she disappears, and Trapper's like, what's going to happen? You had a chance to say goodbye. You deserve no less, but I could arrange no more. So, they're just like, well, since when is Time Trapper and Rock such good friends? And that's when Trapper It's like,
the hood gets pulled back.
our moment of bonding came when we finally met face to face. And then the younger one's like, wait, he's Rock? He's me?
Oh, wait, that's a what the F, man.
Oh, yeah. So I have an older version and now a villain version. Okay. Yeah, that deserves the old Australian. What the F?
Yep, absolutely.
All right. So was that Ultra Boy's like, it's another trick, it has to be. But yeah, Rock's like, no, he's telling the truth. In my absence, I learned all the secrets of time.
It's been a bit,
Yes.
you know.
You guys might have seen me a few days ago, but yeah, it's been a little bit longer for me.
It's been a bit, yeah.
I was destined to become the Trapper, to try time and again in vain to prevent this catastrophe. Instead, I broke the pattern and chose another route, a drastic path to triumph that only the Legion can make work. So yeah, the Trapper's basically just telling him how he split a bunch of them into two. We have to correct the paradox, but how? The answer lies in unification. Only the Legionnaires who have direct counterparts have survived time's fragmentation because they are the key. If the universe is to weather the coming chronal storm, heroes young and old, each as real as his doppelganger, must become one again. Is that lightning lad's like, yeah, well, we have to sacrifice our lives. Well, what will that buy the universe? Survival. So yeah, the Trapper's basically telling them, yeah, got to do this. Nothing we can do to stop this. Trust me, I've tried.
So young and old start touching hands.
Yeah,
and
they're not the cause of time's chaos. The Legion split. Nonetheless, it gave rise to the time's confusion and caused more problems than it would have solved.
Thanks, Time Trapper.
Yeah, so yeah, he said if time's ever to align, first we got to get rid of that big paradox. But then,
And since there are two Brainiacs, he actually does have a paradox. Sorry, I could not resist.
They merged in the Brainiac 10. And then, who's this? What's his face? He goes, wait a minute. My double died months ago.
Well...
And it's like, no, basically, no. I merged when he merged with Wildfire's body.
Yeah.
My energies started dissipating. I needed something to contain them. There's nothing around. He found Dirk's body. It was exactly what I needed, and I was desperate. Because he looks all... He takes off the helmet, he's all messed up.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah,
merge again.
Yeah. Was that Dream Girls? Where he's like, yeah, for the first time we looked in the future. We can't see anything. So, yeah, people are saying goodbyes. People are merging. Yeah, how about that panel, that page where, that splash page where the two sides are just basically standing face to face. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, the whole planet's erupting in looks like a giant volcano at this point.
Yeah. Pocket Universe Earth is not a happy place.
So, I don't think we've seen Pocket Universe Earth ever again, so did 0 Hour wipe that out too?
I think it wiped, all of that stuff. Anything that the Time Trapper did. So, except then it actually showed it in Superman, so that didn't happen.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm trying to remember. I'm like, did they wipe what he killed, like that Pocket Universe Zod in his crew, or no?
Who knows? I mean,
I don't think they ever mentioned it, but then was it mid 2000s? There was an issue with Superman. I think somebody was trying to hint around that maybe he was starting to remember that again, killing Zod in the crew, but I don't think that anyone ever picked that up. So, well, the current DC, anything goes. So
everything happened. It all happened. Everything, all the time, all at once.
That's what I said. Steer into that skid. If you time travel, if you try to time travel back to 1994, you should be in the middle of 0 Hour, or right before all that changes occurred. So yeah, they start merging, and we see all these, memories and stuff that happened before. Oh look, there they are with Superboy.
Mm-hmm.
And just like the end of every 0 Hour issue, it all fades to white.
Mm-hmm. And it does. And we get 2 or 3 pages of white, right? I mean, it was
I think like the paper ones, because I don't know if the digital they did it, but yeah, the last page in the digital was this. But I know in like a lot of those 0 hour, like the paper copies, like you got like 2 full pages, I think at least, that like just blank.
Yep. The writer and the artist had to work hard on those pages.
I was gonna say, did they pay the artist a little less for this? You didn't pay me as much. Well, hey, we're suffering too. We didn't get to put any ads on those pages.
Yeah, exactly. They were just empty. Well, that was your choice, not mine. I drew exactly what the writer told me.
Exactly.
It was nothing, and I drew that perfectly.
All right. So, William, what did thoughts on this? Again.
I thought this was a good way for the Legion to go out. Again, it would be they said 18 years later, 13 years later?
Something like that, yeah.
So, for a very long time, the only Legion was the new Reboot Legion. Yeah. And the new Reboot Legion was good. It was a lot of fun. I mean, had some great artists on it. Had some, Mark Waid wrote some for it, I think. Tom McGraw wrote some for it. And you basically got, with the Legion of Superheroes title and the Legionnaires title, you got Legion twice a month.
Yes.
They were continuing. They actually started an L number, I think. They do that, I think, 5 months in, 6 months in, they start doing an L number so you know which one to read first, right? Which was really cool.
Like a triangle number, you say?
Yeah, exactly. Except it was L for Legion. But this, I feel like, and I wasn't reading it at the time, but I kind of feel like with the 5 years later Legion, it started collapsing under its own weight. Maybe. I mean, I'm not sure. Like I said, I wasn't reading it, but I do know that I enjoyed this end of an era because we got to see a lot of things that were obviously pre-crisis, right? Yeah. That callbacks to previous stories and things like that. I think it was. I mean, if you're going to reboot a series, instead of just suddenly going, "Oh, hey, we're starting over." New 52. Excuse me. Must be something in the air.
Oh my.
If you're going to reboot something, then this was, I think, a really good send-off for the previous continuity. It was respectful and it showed you a lot of the cool stuff that is associated with the Legion, over the last, when this came out, was 35, 40 years or whatever.
Yeah, like I said, I mean, I'm not I want to learn more about the Legion, but I mean, I enjoyed this, even though I don't have the history like you do with this.
And there's so much of the history that I don't have either, because there's so much of it. I mean, I've read some of the archives. I haven't read them all yet. But, the Legion was kind of goofy fun. I mean, and, Jim Shooter got his start when he was like 14 years old writing for the Legion, and, you had Kurt Swan doing, art. You had all of these, you had the Great Darkness saga, in the early 80s, but then the Legion in the 70s, you had, Dave Cockrum redesigning a lot of those, costumes and then getting, moved over to this book that nobody knew about called Uncanny X-Men, and I mean, there's so much history with the Legion that, it's kind of fun to dive into. Oh
yeah. Like I said, man, I think eventually I'm probably going to have to break down, start getting trades and getting... It's almost like a whole new universe that you can discover.
Yeah, now, and granted, some of those early stories are... It's the same problem we run into when we were talking about, the Silver Age Green Lantern stories. They were really meant and written for children, so there's not a lot of subtext.
Yeah,
right? Yeah. As the Legion hit the 70s, there started to be better, not necessarily better stories, but, stories that were more mature. And I don't mean, adult. I just mean the creators working on it, the medium had matured some. It was no longer considered just for children, so that you could write some things that, you couldn't write before, or you could draw things that you couldn't draw before. So it's... The Legion has this great history that it's fun to learn about.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it seems to me, I'm like, I want to learn about this. I mean, there seems like, it's like basically a whole new universe, the comic universe.
Yeah. Did you ever read the issue of why there are no Green Lanterns in the 30th?
No, wasn't that the one right after the Great Darkness saga? Yeah, I'm going to go. That's one of the ones I'm going to go back, probably.
I've never read that. I'm curious to know the answer to the question. I may have to go look that up, too.
Yeah, no, I'm just looking up. Looks like there's at least 2 omnibuses for like the Silver Age stuff, and there's a bunch of different ones that collect all those Adventure Comics stuff, stuff that collects Superboy starring the Legion of Superheroes. Damn, I'm gonna go broke.
Yep. Looks like the Legion of Superheroes Volume 12.
Ooh.
The Legion of Superheroes Archives Volume 12. I'm trying to see. Okay, it looks like there's a Volume 13. 12 came out in 2003. 13 came out in May of 2003, and it looks like it reprints all the way up to Superboy and the Legion of Superheroes number 233.
Ooh.
Which came out November of 77.
Oh, nice.
So you can get all the way up to 77. And I don't know, they may have collected some of the Paul Levitt's Steve Lytle stories. I'm not sure, but they're not part of the archive, at least that I can tell. Let's see, the Omnibus.
I'm going to have to throw in another bookcase just
Oh, I love these. I love these hardcover collections. I am a sucker for them. It's a weakness. It's a weakness.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I know. I'm usually a floppy man, but so some of those hardcovers are nice.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. Here we go. The Omnibus.
I will have you know, William. Anytime I have a hole in my schedule, I think I'm gonna be like, "Hey, Will, let's do an episode of Legion."
Looks like the Omnibuses get you up to Superboy 125. So the archive editions get you up to 233. At some point after, I can't remember where it is, they just take over Superboy's book and it becomes the Legion of Superheroes. And they keep the numbering, which is where we get to in the Great Darkness saga. And then ultimately that gets canceled. No, it doesn't get canceled. They print the stories first in the upgraded paper on that Volume 3 series. Mm-hmm. And then I think this series becomes Tales of the Legion of Superheroes, and it reprints those stories like a year later, in cheaper format. I think that's what happened. It's been a while since I've looked at that, though.
All right, kids. So, yes, if you weren't paying attention, next week we're going to be covering, the Zero issues, and then Legion of Superheroes is at 62 through 65, and Legionnaires 19 through 22, so...
Cool. We may get to see some of those L numbers.
Ooh.
L. There we go.
There's As Will said, they did not renumber, man. They kept that number going.
Yep, absolutely.
Because Mark Waid has integrity.
Those numbers mean something, man.
Exactly. History. I mean, remember, when you started collecting, do you care if an issue was 200 some or 300 some? No.
It made me want to go find out what happened in the first 200 issues.
Exactly. Lazy kids these days. So that's next week, and then in 2 weeks we're doing Legion Lost 1 through 12. So that'll probably be more of a broad review.
Yes, I would think so.
And then for the final week of the month, we'll cover Final Crisis: Legion of Three Worlds.
There we go.
So see how many changes the Legion can go through.
There are a lot.
Yes. All right. Any final thoughts before we close up?
Nope. We covered a lot.
Oh, yeah.
Decades of history.
All right, kids. So send your thoughts. Email us, CapesandLunatics@gmail.com, or call the voicemail, 614-382-2737. That's 614-38-CAPES. And remember, you can find Unlimited Justice on Facebook, on Twitter. Find links to all the various social medias for all the DC and Marvel shows we do. Links to the YouTube channel. Again, smash that subscribe button so you don't miss anything. Everything we do gets a video. The Patreon. Once again, we're paying for this out of our own pocket. Every little bit helps. $3 to $5 gets you early access to creator interviews, including the monthly Chichester chats. Like I said, the new episode's going to be DG Chichester and Fabian Needs to Ease Us. So double bang for your buck. So yeah, you don't want to miss that.
I got the good mic out for you guys.
And superhero movie brackets because Little Hellfire loves pain. So check that out. And get yourself some Capes and Lunatics and Capes and Lunatics Sidekicks merch. Find it all at Linktree, linktr.ee/Capes and Lunatics. All right. Mr. Will Allred. Master of the Green Lantern Corps, master of the Legion of Superheroes, master of his own domain. Where can people get a hold of you?
You can find me at Walred, that's at WALLRED, Gmail or Twitter, Facebook, and other social media that I probably forgot I set up. You can also find out cool stuff about Crossover Division, which is my self-published book via Kickstarter. Number 4 should be going to print real soon. It was just recently funded. Also, Diary of Nights, another book at diaryofnight.com. And I, besides hanging out with Phil, I hang out with writer Kevin Joseph on Friday nights, and we discuss current comic Kickstarters with their creators, and where they explain themselves, which is the name. Explain Yourself is the name of the podcast. And then finally, you obviously, if you're listening to this podcast, have amazing taste. That means you probably love Quasar almost as much as we do. And if you want to find out more about Quasar, you can go to the Quantum Zone at quantumzone.org.
I'll put it in my navel.
Hey, boys, you look at the party? I love the party. He goes limp in my grip.
Oh, there was one DC news today. Did you see they renewed Harley Quinn for season 4?
No, I did not see it. That's awesome news. Awesome.
So, yeah, I knew you were enjoying that. So, yes, we're going to be getting a season 4. Yay.
That's a brilliantly messed up show.
Amen. And that I just love the scenes with her and Batgirl, because Batgirl's played by Kaylee Cuoco's sister.
Oh, nice.
Adds another layer to it. Yeah.
I'm not your friend.
So, yeah, that's got to be fun. All right. Thank you for joining us again. Next week, we'll see in a post-zero hour future what will come. And then Legion Lost, and then Legion of Three Worlds.
And then, since we have failed to replace Lilith, she will be back.
Yes, we're gonna do a couple Black Canary episodes to make Ray happy.
Oh, okay.
All right, kids. Again, until then, come get yourself some justice. I don't know what timeline we're in, but some justice. Good night.